3, 2. Seth is here. We're without Dean today.
I know. I can't step all over his toes.
You got some big shoes to fill.
I'm sure I'll fill them.
I mean, literally,
I'm better than Dean anyway.
He wears like a 15 with an E width. Those are hooves. Those are massive sneakers that you need to fill. So thank you for being here. Dean had a personal event that he needs to go to, but he will be back for next week's episode of Collecting Weekly. Unless Seth just kills it, and then
fire Dean.
Right?
We don't do it. Been replaced.
Give him a 14-day notice.
We're totally joking. We still need Dean. We definitely.
It's not you, it's me.
Dean's lives matter.
Oh man, that's funny.
Hey guys, my name is Zach.
I'm Seth.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Daisy.
Welcome to this week's episode of Collecting Weekly. This is a weekly podcast where my friends and I talk about the things that matter the most to us this week in collecting. We're joined here by Steven and Daisy. Combining those. I'm watching too much Dragon Ball Z. Steven and Daisy of Steven's Collectibles and More. Welcome. Thank you guys for sponsoring this episode of Collecting Weekly. I thought we'd try a different sponsor tag since you guys are here in person, and we'll just do one live. And if it's great, that's great. If it's terrible, you already paid us the money. So.
We're already here.
So what do you want to talk about today?
Okay, well, appreciate you having us again, Zach and Seth. Glad to be with you here in the flesh, man. It's good to be back. So this, I know that we are going to be receiving one of our heavy loads from our distributor, one of our distributors again. Once again, I'm unable to talk. I felt like I hit a brick wall just like you did at that moment. But Steven threw me off. Anywho. We'll be receiving our large shipment. Like we always do, we typically receive 1 to 2 big shipments each and every month. This one's coming from our Japanese distributor company. We'll be getting in a large quantity of Gundam model kits. I know that we're going to be receiving quite a bit on the Sola Chogokin line this time. Like we've got some of the Mazinger, we've got the Mazinger, the Great Mazinger, the Mazing Kaiser. We've got some more from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers coming in too in the Sola Chogokin. We've got a bunch of Dragon Ball SH Fig Arts coming in on this one too. So stay tuned. Like always, you guys receive 10% off your first purchase with us. We ship anything over $100. You guys always get free shipping on. So feel free to message me. Feel free to reach out to me through Facebook or call me if you're old-fashioned like me.
What's your phone number? It's 1-800.
It's going to be 1-800-359-2170.
All right, guys. So it's that time of the show where we talk about the things that we got new this week. Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. New this week. Wow, Seth was really uncomfortable. I was kind of freaking out because of like the Seth game.
I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. I was like, should I say it?
It's been like 50 episodes that we've been doing like new this week. It's been a while. And Dean's done them every single time. So I got really nervous because Seth gave me a look like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah,
He's not here.
I forgot.
So, Steven, what did you get this week?
So this week, man, we've got we actually received in some of the sideshow. We received a small order on our first batch. Zach being one of the first recipients.
Frame the dollar.
I know we should.
And I'm actually in the process of working with our sales rep a little bit more on ordering some more in-stock stuff. I know we've got some Star Wars figures coming in from Hot Toys. We're looking at a couple of different pieces and statues and so forth. If you guys have any, recommendations too, or any things that you personally want to see, or, just let me know. I'm always ears.
I'm really excited for that. First off, I've always watched Pawn Stars, and Rick always has like that guy. He's like, yo, I got a friend. He's an expert on this. I want to be that guy for you. Like if someone comes into your store and they're like, yo, I want to trade you this Batman Begins MMS 155. You call me and be like, yo, check the ankles. You're going to have to check the ankles.
I'd be like,
I should record that for our ongoing commercial.
The brakes.
Hold on, I've got a guy.
I really like what you have, but Is it okay if I call my friend?
Yeah, exactly. So always call for it. What does he even know? Give those guys a TV show. Yeah, so I'm excited. You got the distributor, and we'll talk about some stuff we're going to do this Thursday at your shop. It's going to be a lot of collecting weekly stuff today. I got to go to Stevens like right in the morning, and then at 3 I got to head out because we're doing Only Fools and Collectors episode 2.
Ooh, yeah.
With our English friends. So
it's going to be
fun. Seth, what'd you get this week?
My only pickup this week was my lovely iPhone 11 Pro
Forest
Max.
Green. Forest Green.
Forest Green is midnight green. Thank you.
Yes. Oh. Seth,
Don't hang on the name.
Seth, look at this battery percentage. 38%. I charged it to 90 an hour ago. I'm at 38%. I don't know anything about this.
You get that color right.
Manny in the comments asked if you have any Hot Toys Darth Maul that you're ordering.
Darth Maul?
Yes.
Yes. We
I think you ordered the speeder version.
The speeder version, the Hot Toys version, not the Sideshow collectibles, and we've got the newest one that's on pre-order.
The one without the speeder.
Correct. Yeah,
okay.
That one's on pre-order as well too.
Okay.
So
yeah, so Manny, he's got. He does have the ability to get those. I think they're still trickling in.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and we'll see a lot more coming in within the week or so. I know I've got like a Darth Vader, Sith Trooper. Luke and Obi-Wan too. So we've got kind of the entourage for Star Wars coming in too. And as soon as they're in, I'll post them up in the group so that way everybody can kind of get first views. And
for sure.
Everything like that.
Dylan says how much to ship to North Dakota. I think it depends on what you're ordering, but then over $100 is free.
More than likely, if you're getting if it's a hot toy, Dylan, more than likely you're going to qualify for that free shipping. So anything over $100 is free shipping for you. Anywhere in the country.
Very cool. So let's talk some new pre-orders. We got Seth's beautiful face on the screen. So first up, we have the Hot Toys Jawa and EG6 Power Droid, aka Gonk. This seems like a really odd set from Hot Toys. I think that most people that want a Jawa probably want 2 of them. And I think that most people that are going to buy a Jawa, maybe they want a Gonk Droid, but it seems like you could probably sell these separately.
Yeah.
Because I know with Battlefront, the Gonk Droid is a pretty popular part of that video game for restocking ammo. And I think like if you sold the Gonk Droid by himself for like $150, that would be a hit. And then sell the Jawa for like, $110.
Yeah.
$110, $150. I think you'd be able to sell these at that price. I will say that the Jawa, the road looks a little too brown in my opinion.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the screenshots, they seem to be a little darker in the film, and I know Sideshow does have that color a little bit more accurate in my opinion. You can see here it comes with 2 bases: the droid collar, the weapon, and we've seen this at SDCC, and we've seen this in a few other places, and they're finally putting them up for pre-order. These are coming out January to March 2020. Again, though, I think that it's a little bit of a hit of a miss for me because I think most people would rather have Gonk separately and, of course, 2 Jawas. Now, Sideshow does have theirs on sale. They're $220 with free U.S. shipping. And, I know a lot of people that have these this set, and it's not the best set by any means. The bodies are really loose. The figures have trouble standing. The LED eye effect isn't like the best thing in the world. But I would imagine that the LED thing is going to be a Hot Toys thing as well because they're not going to be permanently lit. The looseness of the body, my Hot Toys Yoda was super loose. That was from Empire Strikes Back. And so I think, $267 for one Jawa and a Gonk, or $220 free shipping for 2 Jawas. I have to say, I think maybe not in terms of just pure quality or overall figure, but just in terms of like value, I feel like the Sideshow might be the better option here. Dylan says Gonk had a cult following and that people on Sideshow Freaks loved his reveal. And I know there's a lot of people that have been making 6-scale Gonk droids for about $50 for a 3D printed kit. And the paint job to paint that up is pretty simple. Just filler primer, sand it, a gunmetal, weather it, and like for $75 you can have a Gonk. And so if you're saying that if you're saying that a Sideshow Jawa is $220, so that's $110 each, I don't see a Gonk being $157 by itself. So that is a premium that we're being charged.
It's going to be a tough sale.
And you can see both of these Jawas fit in the palm of your hand.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
good to know.
That is Sideshow opponent again. 3-0 showed off their Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood figures, the Edward Elric and Alphonse Elric. Now you can buy these separately at $129 for Edward Elric or $149 for Alphonse Elric, or you can buy them in a 2-pack, which is $278. So that's 2 full figures almost for the price of a Jawa and a Gonk. Now, I know 3-0, when they released their Saitama, it was a pretty bad figure. A lot of people that I knew that got it pretty much said it was the worst figure they've ever owned. And so let's show what these guys look like here. So there's Edward. You can see, I'm actually not too familiar with the show, but I mean, it looks like an okay figure, but the thing is, a lot of people complained about the body on Saitama. And specifically Saitama's outfit that they used, it was like a weird pleather rubber that would just peel really bad. And so wasn't a huge fan of that. The Alphonse looks excellent. I always like this character design. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the show, but I have to say the design looks
both the characters actually look spot on to how they look in the show. I'm interested to see just what quality is, even just for the pricing, because the pricing is fantastic.
Yeah, and these are due Q1 2020. So,
so that's right around the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Around the corner.
Definitely an interesting release there. Present Toys put out their 1/6 scale Vito Corleone from The Godfather. This runs you $168.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a deposit of about $28 here on 1/6 kit, and this is due also in Q1 2020. He comes with the chair, a few accessories, hands. The sculpt looks really good.
Yeah.
It's great.
I like the Godfather movie trilogy, but I would love one. But it just seems like I just don't know where I would put it.
Yeah,
like,
I'm like an awkward.
I just need like one more cabinet, and then I could convince myself.
It's hard to fit them in, Yeah.
You're going down the rabbit hole. I just need one more cabinet, and then I have all of the space to put extra figures in.
Yeah.
That's dangerous territory.
Played a little hindsight. We have Rainer in the chat, and Damien says Matt Bartwell has a Gonk in progress as well. Matt runs Poison Harley Customs, and he is making a 3D print. He was the guy that was making those 3D printed Gonks. So he just got a resin printer, so I think the quality of prints that he's going to be doing from this point forward are going to be pretty crispy, I think. So let's talk about the Joker. Now, the Joker has been viral this week.
Yeah.
Now, we have from, who is this? SW Toys. They teased this Joker here where there's a few pictures, and I gotta say it looks pretty good. I mean, the suit looks really good. The tailoring looks pretty good. The sculpt looks pretty okay. I think that might be the weakest part of that. So that was shown, and then the M Toys showed there. Now the SW Toys, that went up for pre-order at $110. It's due Q4 to Q1 2019 or Q1 2020.
Okay.
This is M Toys. They haven't released pricing yet, though. I think the outfit looks worst personally, especially like in this collar area. If you look at this one, it has the printing in there.
Yeah.
And I think that the paint looks maybe a little too clean compared to SW Toys. It just seems like more lived in. Like if you look at, sorry, I'm making everyone sick here. SW Toys has like the paint running and everything. And I think that
it looks a little bit more screen accurate.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen the movie, so I think I prefer the SW Toys. Now, if that wasn't enough, Top, we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, they teased that they were also working on a 6-scale Joker figure / kit. Now, the thing is, Top, when they released their casual clothes Joker, it was the head, the outfit, and some accessories, but no body. So you had to put everything together yourself. These other two seem to be full figures, so it'll be interesting to see what they end up releasing, but they did tease this head sculpt here, which looks really fantastic.
Yeah.
And then they also teased that it comes with a removable back of the hair with the clown mask. And then they also teased sort of how this works. And I think that this looks pretty fantastic. I think
is probably the best one.
Yeah, I think Top nailed they nailed the execution on the first one. The casual clothes, and I think that it definitely carried over to this release. So we'll see what Top decides to release. I guess it just depends how comfortable you feel with putting together a body onto an outfit and everything like that. But
it's not terrible.
It's
really.
not. It's not terrible, but I will say a lot of people seem to get hung up on that when they, when they get something new like that. I certainly have heard from many a collector that was something that really freaked them out. So.
Yeah, and so I mean, it is probably, if you haven't done it before, it's probably a little bit out of your comfort zone. But once you figure it out, it's really easy to start modifying the parts you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they just slip onto the body anyway. So,
yeah, and that the mask looks great too, and just the detail all around.
Yeah, definitely.
That thing is amazing.
Definitely. Now, Hot Toys put up a teaser of the Joker trailer. And it kind of freaked everyone out because everyone was thinking that, oh shit, like Hot Toys is jumping into the ring as well.
Yeah.
And, I would say Hot Toys sharing a trailer is not like a for sure indication of whether they are or are not going to make something. Hot Toys has literally shown us finished figures that they never released. So
that's true.
For them showing the trailer.
Yeah, they're just...
maybe it's more like a testing the waters kind of thing. See how many reactions they get, and then maybe they'll pursue it.
Maybe. We never did see even like Shazam or the C-3POs that they've shown.
That's true.
There's a lot of really like top tier characters that we haven't seen that they've shown. So
and Shazam is supposedly still coming, so we'll see.
Yes, yeah, it was not confirmed to be canceled. So the Diamond Select Gallery Iron Giant figure was put up for pre-order. This is $49.99 MSRP. Big Bad Toy Store has it for $45. It's about 10.5 inches tall. It rocks the Superman pose from the film, and this is a statue, so it's there's no change out parts. I think it looks pretty decent, honestly.
I really like the base.
I think the base looks pretty decent. Yeah. I ordered it, and I think the price is really good because the closest you can get to this scale is the Mondo at 18 inches, and that runs like $450 to $750. And then you have, I think, a statue, right, of the Iron Giant, or is that the Mondo?
No, I have the Mondo one. Okay. I picked it up like right when it came out, so I didn't pay near what it's going for now.
Yeah, my buddy Steven has the Mondo one, and it looks pretty good, but it is way out of my budget. So $45 is a little bit of an easier pill to swallow.
Yeah, this looks fantastic.
If it comes out looking half as good as this,
sorry guys, no dinner tonight.
Soup time. So, Seth, you wanted to talk about these. These are the Icon Design Studio Batarangs.
Yeah, so I saw these pop up for pre-order on BBTS, and man, they look fantastic. Yeah. I'm kind of like not huge into like 1-to-1 scale props. Mm-hmm. But batarangs have always kind of been like,
it's such a displayable thing.
Yeah,
it's not like too big, not too cumbersome.
That thing that you can put up on the wall just right. It looks awesome, and
kids are acting wrong.
Don't make me do it. But it looks awesome. It looks like that they just kind of hang on those little bases. It does show that they are removable. I think you can mount the bases to the wall. They are doing 2 more that I saw in promo pics. I think one from maybe the 66 Batman or something, and another one. So it should be an awesome display when they're all out. The pricing isn't terrible. I wish it was a little bit cheaper, but still, for the display and the fact they are metal, I think it's a good price.
Yeah,
it's definitely not bad. So next up, we have. Where's my mouse at? So we are doing a 4K Far From Home giveaway on. I think it's the next episode of Collecting Weekly. It's October 1st.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it live. So stay tuned for that. If you're listening now, stay tuned. We get the code. I think we should be getting the code that day, or like the movie comes out that day. So whenever the shipping stuff arrives, but we'll select a winner on that show.
Cool.
And let's see. Fun. Kai says, I just joined. Let me feature this comment. He says, I just joined. What's the deal with the Usurper? Is that something being released? Kai, no. So last episode, Seth was joking that like in the intro, he had taken over Dean's spot. Like it's like Zach, Dean, and Seth, and then Seth jumped in at the beginning. Yeah. And then throughout the show, he was just cutting Dean off because Dean wasn't here. He had to record like remotely. And so we were joking he's the Usurper, and then Dean ended up not being able to make it today. So we were joking.
We were joking. I am the new Dean.
Yeah, we were joking that Seth was usurping Dean as my number 2.
Dean, if you're listening.
Dean, no, really, if you're listening, I still feel really bad about stepping all over your spot.
Dude, you were doing him ugly. There was one point you're like, I'm sorry to interrupt you. And I thought you were gonna stop and let him finish, but you just like ran right over him. And he never finished what he was saying.
You didn't even look in the rearview mirror.
That's what happens when you're not here.
I ran over, looked up, backed up again.
Kai says that
Kept going.
Kai says they thought it was a third-party Robert Baratheon. That would be fantastic, but no. To this point, it was just a little inside joke.
I don't know
with
if
the
I
show.
feel insulted that I look like Robert Baratheon.
Dude, he looked pretty good. That was a pretty crispy edit. I did on the iPad Pro. It was really easy. So now we talked about this last week. A new release. This is the Woo Toys comic legend on the left, and this photo was taken by Brian Lowe on 16 Republic, and the Woo Toys sculpt is on the left, Hot Toys is on the right. Definitely a recast.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of groups that were saying that people couldn't talk about this. There was a lot of people that were kind of shunning this figure because it's a recast. And I guess for me, this figure or any third-party figure, like, it's all super sketchy. Like, they're either making money off of someone's license without their permission. They're oftentimes recasting things like this or using, things that they don't own. And there's certainly people that do it better than others. There's some creators out there that, like, for example, us, when we printed the Sebastian Shaw head sculpt, we only charged exactly what it cost for the print and the mold, divided it by 10, and then charged everyone like $10.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's not like that. It's in itself isn't super kosher, but it's like the very low end of
kind of
sketch.
Yeah, because you're not
recasting
overpricing.
something that Hot Toys creates is not cool. Though I will say there was a huge demand for them to make this, and they instead gave us a spacesuit version. So I will say that I personally don't care that much that they recasted this. I think it's a nice figure. A lot of people are really happy. A lot of people that want to buy the genuine Stanley, they're not able to because the price is outrageous, and then the spacesuit one doesn't really fit that niche they wanted for their collection. So all things being equal, I feel like it's not that crazy a deal. Though some of the groups that were saying you couldn't talk about it were same groups, but other people are sharing other third-party things, and I use that term loosely. Because anything that's not licensed is third party. So I just feel like if you're gonna say you can't talk about this, you should reconsider and think.
I think almost it's just the fact that it is Stanley, and people are like, well, we don't want to let's put this one away. Let's not talk about it because it's kind of like a slight to his memory. But it's not really. It's just showing that collectors want this in their collection because he was such an icon to this hobby and to everything that surrounds this hobby.
Yeah.
So they're recasting to make this figure because there is such a demand for it. So, I mean, you're not going to get around it. It's going to happen. If it's not Woo Toys, it's somebody else that's going to do it.
Yeah. And I will say that the figure itself is really well done. The outfit looks really good. I think the body looks a little bit bulky and the shoes look a little bit big, but all things considered, as a full package, it's definitely not a bad release. And I think the price was like $150, which is really not that bad. Speaking of third-party Toys era TE027, the Nightmare was released. I know a lot of people are still waiting on their shipping notices from TNS, but they should be getting them pretty soon. Not a huge fan of this Nightcrawler design, but I know Eric, Greg, and a bunch of people in Ox are really stoked about this. So, good for them.
It does nothing for me.
I know nothing about this character, and
is this from the latest?
I think it is.
I haven't even seen the movie, so I don't know if it's.
Kai says exactly. Accurate. I think that's in reference to our Stanley discussion. But so let's go forward here. So also released, these Star Wars Blu-rays were released, and these all came with a physical disc as well as a digital code. And I know on all the code groups, these are all the rage right now. People are buying them up in droves, and these do nothing for me. I think that they're cool that they're doing it, but I own the Harmy Despecialized Edition, which is like the non-peasant way to watch the OTs.
Yeah, we can't all be as cool as you, so let's just rub it in everybody's face.
You bring me a USB stick, and I'll give you the Harmy Despecialized. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I like my Yub Nub. I like my Sebastian Shaw with eyebrows. I'm very particular about how to watch the OT. But,
We all
these
know
are-
that you're a perfectionist
These
when
are
it
not
comes to
for
that.
me, my friend.
A purist, I guess.
We've talked about Sensation collectibles favorably quite a bit, but I think we should also talk about maybe some of the less than great things that they're doing.
Yeah.
I know around last Christmas they had canceled I think it was a Final Fantasy figure that Dean was really interested in. It was like a third-party Cloud, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're
They
right.
canceled that, and they also announced earlier this year. They announced that they were revisiting this figure. It's from The Witcher.
Mhm.
They had canceled it. They said they're going to revisit it, and they recanceled it. So it's like, snip,
What are you
snap, snip,
doing?
snap.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so they
it
have
canceled?
recanceled this figure, and pretty much they. I think they're going to push forward with their Game of Thrones third-party stuff and focus on that.
Mhm.
It seems to be selling really well, and it seems to be just the thing that's making the money right now. Richard's in the chat. He says, "What's up, guys?" That's
up?
Richard. That you got the Shadow Trooper from.
Hey, Richard, how's it going, man?
And I think the thing with these third-party figures is that, with Hot Toys figures, like once they're up for pre-order, they're going to be made.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to cancel that figure.
That's-
And with
that's
third-party, a lot of people take the approach like, "Oh, I'm going to wait to see how it turns out."
good. Mhm.
Yeah.
With Hot Toys, I think that that's fine, but with third-party figures, the feasibility of these being created comes down to how many people are ordering.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I know The Witcher is a very popular license, especially with the Netflix show coming out.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this. I've never played the game. I'm not familiar with this character, but I know a lot of people that had that stance on this figure and other figures, and I don't think that's the right approach, especially with
Yeah.
third parties. So,
So do we think that maybe they canceled it because the Netflix show is coming out? Like maybe they plan to tackle characters specifically from the show, maybe?
I don't know. They just said that the quantity that they had,
Uh-huh.
the orders that they received, that they were not sufficient to meet the development resource. So probably
I
the
get
casting, the painting, the seamstress,
And I'm sure there's such a
Yeah.
narrow profit for them because they're not making, hundreds of figures like
Yeah.
Hot Toys is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they
For
go
sure.
Just
Were
on
you gonna say
demand. No, well, I was going to say, like, we see it all the time too with third parties that cancel. I mean, we've even had it before where we've ordered something and then all of a sudden they say, "Oh, we're just going to shut it
Shut out of
down,"
nowhere.
like
Mhm.
out of nowhere.
Yep.
So yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Kai's
We've
saying
read-
that they
Yeah,
that,
we've had
that they
before.
talked to Sensation and they canceled it because there was not enough orders.
Okay.
And this was the same thing with Cloud. Cloud was also canceled because they claimed that they didn't have the orders
Yeah.
to make it worth it.
I feel like they still could have made Cloud and then had the orders later. I mean, he is a popular character.
Mhm.
Yeah, but if you're this company, you don't want to sit on stock like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That could be quite difficult. Now, keeping up with third-party, Iron Geek 37 put up some pictures last week of a fully custom articulated cyborg that has 17 points of articulation with light-up features. Now, he is doing this figure with 3 versions here. Now, there is a bust, which I think is a pretty neat option. A lot of people collect a lot of different things.
Yeah.
The bust comes
Bust
in
is
at
cool.
$75. The
Wow.
standard release is, which is actually a really good price. I was actually surprised
That's
about
really
that.
good.
The standard release is priced at $375, and the deluxe is $475. The
Mhm.
deluxe comes with interchangeable blaster forearm, wireless light up features that illuminate upon contact with the base, an adhesive back wireless circuit to affix to the base to power the figure, as well as custom set of decals for the Justice League nameplates featuring the name with corresponding insignia behind it. The standard is the fully articulated figure that's USB powered, as well as a custom set of decals for the nameplate and the base. And the bust is just 1 point of articulation, which is the neck, and also USB light up. He has different payment options. First, there's an NRD of $150, and they do pay in full, 3-month installment, 5-month installment, or 7-month installment. And all figures will be shipped in a custom box with foam inserts designed specifically for the figure. The US-based orders will be a $20 flat rate fee, and international shipping just depends on where you live. So, a lot of people want this figure to complete their Justice League displays, and even though the price might be a little bit higher than a Hot Toys figure, you're also dealing with a quantity of maybe tens or dozens. So definitely a small quantity there.
Yeah. I don't think the pricing is outrageous either. I mean, considering it's a custom-made figure with the light-up features that he says he's going to put into it.
Yeah,
I mean,
and this guy, if you look at his Instagram, it's iron_geek_37. He has done a lot of like other big projects, like fully disassembling a diecast Iron Man and recasting it fully in diecast, a bunch of other things like that. And we asked him if he'd like to come on for an interview, and he said, potentially sometime in the future, he might want to come on and tell us about his process, plug his figure, and I just think like I know at least a dozen collectors that need Cyborg for their collection. So this is a decent price. They give you some really flexible payment options, and I think it's going to be a big winner, once it comes out.
For sure.
Legio 7 Workshop showed a animated series Thrawn, and I think that it is pretty dope.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It's looking really good right now.
I have my Thrawn pretty much done already. I don't know that I need this sculpt. It's that blue guy up there, Daisy.
Oh yeah.
And it does look pretty dope, though. I'm really tempted by this.
You'll get it.
I know. Now, and I feel good because he made like an original interpretation of Thrawn, and it looked okay, but I personally didn't like it that much. But goddamn, this is like
Looking good.
really good. I'm kind of like pissed. I thought I was done with Thrawn. Shout out to my boy Eric. He gave me the idea to use this Val Kilmer head for Thrawn. I think it came out really good. My wife painted it.
It's fantastic.
This is. I told my wife we were done.
I
don't know.
You're just like, just kidding.
We all
just don't know.
We all know.
Really
Now-
start off with "I love you."
Kai says you should check out Legio 7's Uncle Frank from Hellraiser. We'll definitely check that out. And thank you for that. So Big Bad Toy Store sent out an email this week that says, last June, the Supreme Court ruled that states can charge sales tax on internet purchase. Almost all states already have laws in effect or laws that will be going into effect very soon. Yada, yada, yada. But basically on October 1st, Kansas, Tennessee, and Texas will be charged sales tax on all orders that ship past that date. So even if you paid off $10,000 in your pile of loot and you ship it October 2nd, you're getting hit with all that tax. So, because the way the laws are written, I actually looked into it, it's when the goods enter Texas is when they're taxed. So.
So ship your pile of loot now.
So
Don't wait.
The
Do it now.
legislature says that in Texas, this could bring in like $500 million worth of revenue to the state. Which means my streets and highways better be looking fucking crispy. Because
there is some potholes that I know
Right.
filled.
I am
Right.
If they could finish
Now-
construction,
I'll tell you what,
We're
we'll
gonna
see.
be richer.
We will see a lot of strip malls going up.
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll still be working with the same 2-lane 1604.
Immediately when I got this email, I started canceling pre-orders like a madman. I was fucking Texas Tea Partying this bitch and just throwing boxes in the ocean. I was pissed. I canceled so many pre-orders that morning. I guess as retailers, this kind of levels the playing field for you guys. So as a collector, I just want to get my stuff as cheap as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And that might mean that sometimes I buy it from you guys, sometimes I buy it from Sideshow. Actually, I don't buy it from Sideshow anymore because I'm boycotting them. But sometimes I buy it from Big Bad Toy Store or TNS. Tell me how this is good for the retailer, the local comic book store, the local retailer that you guys are.
It's funny you said that.
Yeah.
'Cause Daisy and I looked at each other. We were like, I was like, man, look at this. This is, and she was like, it's not that bad. And I was like, she's like, actually, it's going to be good for us. And I was like, you know what? You're right.
they're all over here like high-fiving.
Yay,
Very-
BBTS.
Yeah, because Kim Andresen and Ox, he owns Geek Mail Toys.
Yeah.
He was like, and I'll let you guys touch on this here in a second, but he was like, right now, the way he has to price his stuff is like to meet Big Bad Toy Store's prices with their $4 shipping, he takes a huge loss.
Yeah.
So he has to price at retail and hope that with tax, people are still interested, and it really cuts into his bottom line for like the more expensive stuff that he carries. But I mean, let's hear what you guys, how this is a good thing for you guys.
So basically, for us, I mean, when it breaks out, it's kind of like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
basically.
So you always want to price competitive via store. opposed to, being a private seller or whatnot. So
Mhm.
that's also looking at, competitors like Big Bad Toy Store, that's looking at
Mhm.
competitors like Amazon and some
Yeah.
of these other places
Mhm.
that are highly sought out for collectible figures. So,
Mhm.
it does kind of even the playing field.
Yeah, it
for-
does.
for
Yeah,
us.
because that's kind of the leverage that they had on us.
Yeah,
They
and I
didn't-
guess you guys are probably one of the better examples of shops because you guys do price like retail or like right at retail.
Yeah.
And I know there's other stores in town that we've talked about in the past that they usually do have some upcharge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I guess like maybe their ideas like people are impatient, they want to get it today.
Mhm.
And you guys, I think now that all things being equal, I don't think Sideshow has announced that they're doing tax yet. I know eBay has started implementing, and we should clarify because a lot of
Really?
people. Yeah,
I didn't know about
eBay, I didn't
eBay.
know. I
Wow.
thought eBay was still not.
I don't know about Texas, but I know a lot of people. I haven't bought on eBay in a while, but a lot of
Uh-huh.
people were saying that eBay's also
Oh
doing
wow! Yeah, I
this.
didn't know.
Now, it should be noted that it's not Big Bad Toy Store that's charging
Yeah, no.
you
Mhm.
taxes. It's the state of Texas
Exactly.
or Tennessee or wherever you live
Yeah.
That's
is
imposing that.
taxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this isn't like Big Bad Toy Stores trying to put a few bucks in their pocket while they
Right.
can. This
Yeah.
is money that has to be
Yeah,
paid
because
into
it's exactly
Texas.
in the end, it's
So-
their money.
Sales tax, I mean, I paid at the register, and I guess every month or every quarter you guys send a check to
Exactly.
the Texas state
That's
government.
exactly what it is.
Every-
It's every quarter.
Every
Every 3
quarter.
months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
we filed. I mean, you can do an e-file. You get on. Blah, blah, blah.
Online, you can
do
go
your-
in or whatever,
You
but
send it in. You can do that, and essentially you pay your tab every
so
3
it's
months.
best to always put it
Okay.
aside. Like that taxes at the
Yeah.
end of the day. That's what
So
we should
essentially,
do.
the taxes, the money that you gather for taxes, that's
Uh-huh.
money that you just.
It's not ours, so you
It's
kind
not,
of.
it's not yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately, you just set it
Yeah.
aside.
Mhm.
with-
And I know Big Bad Toy Store, Kim talked about it when he came on, but a lot of times Big Bad Toy Store works in the shipping to their cost.
Mhm.
So, for example, this Godzilla, which I got a few years back, was I think $199 on Big Bad Toy Store with $4
Mhm.
shipping, so
Mhm.
$204 shipped. And that same figure on a mom and pop retailer was $150 with $55 shipping.
Yeah.
So you still paid $205 whoever you got it from,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but it's like, do you want to pay $200 with $4 shipping or $150 with $55
So it's kind of
shipping?
like
Right.
mind games in a sense.
Yeah,
then,
and
know?
I think
Yeah.
that with this in particular, it just really changes the game.
Mhm.
Like for me, the only benefit for some of the things that I had ordered was just to get them cheaper. But now I can place those orders with you at the same cost and
Mhm.
rack up some rewards points.
Well, we can even save you shipping.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They actually save on shipping.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so
actually,
now
all
we
things
can
being equal, it'll be
actually-
approximately $4
actually-
cheaper.
Depending,
Yeah,
and
exactly, yeah.
always depending on the margins. There's many occasions where we're actually coming in cheaper than Big Bad
Mhm.
Toy Store is.
Yeah, when I got the Go Tanks from you, you guys were priced at Amazon's price, which was $20-something less than Big Bad Toy Store without
Mhm.
shipping.
Yep.
So
And that's what we try to tell everybody, like there's some things that we will, if we can beat it, we'll definitely beat it,
Yeah.
but other than that, we'll always just come right there with
That's
it.
what we
like-
always aim for.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be one of the best when it comes to prices, so that way,
Mhm.
we're reliable in that aspect, and you can always say, okay, well, Steven carries this product, so I know his prices are always, competitive with Amazon and some of these
Yeah.
other leading competitors. So that way, it's just kind of a reliable place for you guys to always come to at a decent price. So
yeah,
Mhm.
maybe it's not the end of the world, but I was just pissed.
I was looking at it in an optimistic way.
I was none too happy. So let's talk about your store. I had the pleasure of going out there for the first
First
time. I've done a lot of business with you, but I've never actually been there. Usually I would just
I
stack
know.
up stuff and then you drop it off.
Yeah.
When you're an
Yeah.
international
Run up, ding
star,
dong, we
yeah,
run off.
you get the red card treatment.
Yeah.
To get my things delivered.
Hey, you left me the sweet
And
bag
so-
of Dragon Ball.
Right? So this is the front of your store here. You got your logo, and I got this beautiful Texas clouds rolling in the background. It was like a sky open when I took this picture. So beautiful.
Yeah.
And so you guys carry a lot of model kits. You carry a lot of figure arts, a lot of Mezco. I know Dylan is probably salivating at this Mezco you got over here.
For sure.
And you did have some surprising things. Now, I think, a lot of the stores that I go to are not big stores.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think it's important when you have a small store to use your space effectively. And I feel like you guys really had a good use of your space. There's some stores that you go into that are small and you can't walk, you can't shop. If you want to see something, it's often moving dozens of other things out of the way. And recently I went to a local store and I was very interested in something, and it took them almost half an hour to get the item out of from all the shit that was.
You better really want that item.
At that point, I had convinced myself that I didn't need it because I was so frustrated. And I told the guy, like, I gotta go, man. Like, this shouldn't take this long.
Insane.
And so
at that point, you're like, can you just put it back now?
Oh, I felt terrible.
He's like, dude.
He's like in the middle of the pile around. He's like, serious?
He looks at you and is like, really?
You had some really cool figures that I hadn't yet seen. You had the in-game Thanos figure arts, the Mark 50 Nano Weapon Set 2 figure arts, the Mark, I think it's a Mark 6 Hall of Armor on the right. You had some older figures you had in the back there, the Marvel Legends 12-inch. Those are like really, really old Marvel Legends.
Oh, yeah. Top.
Yeah. You had some Mortal Kombat, some Gears of War, some Street Fighter stuff. You had the Monster Arts King Ghidorah. I think when I was there, you sold the Monster Arts Gamera.
Yep.
That guy was like...
He's a popular one, man.
He knocked over my Advanced Spider-Man box. I was like, I want this guy to die.
He had a few margaritas. He's
like, yo, where's my broken box?
I know. We should have convinced him to pick. We should have convinced him to pay for that for you, man.
Punch him in the throat. So... let's see what we got.
I wouldn't
here.
have blamed you.
Totally
understand. Tag team.
I was super pissed.
I was like,
and when I went there, you guys just had a sale, and the store was like pretty empty because you just had a big. I think it's your monthly Gundam sale, or is it
Gundam? Yeah, like we did kind of a blowout sale on our Gundam model kits.
Sold a bunch of comics as well.
Comics. All of the comics.
They're just gonna start getting comics. And you're like, oh no, we sold them all.
We're actually gonna utilize that space now for like our paint accessories. We're gonna start getting in like the airbrush kits and stuff like that.
Cool.
And some D&D miniatures. And stuff like that.
So I'm glad that you mentioned it because you guys carry Mecha and MiG, and those are two excellent paints.
Yep.
Mecha is almost exclusively all that I use. It's pre-thinned airbrush paint, but it's like super hard wearing. It's designed for gaming models where you're putting them in a box, you're throwing them on the table, you're dropping them. So it wears really well. It's like really weird how it wears.
I'll just nod and act like I know what's
going on. Right.
Yeah, you're like,
MiG is really MiG is really great because they just have so many tones for like different military models. It's just like these two paints here are going to get you guys a long way. The Mecha Black Primer is fantastic. The Mecha Steel and Gunmetal and Chrome are just really, really well done. And then you also had a bunch of different oil brush from MiG, which is really impressive.
Those are really popular too.
And a ton of Gundam markers. You had like several different things.
You can actually even convert the gun. You can use the Gundam markers for like a little bit more precise areas and stuff like that. And you can actually plug those into an airbrush kit, and it actually creates a spray with the Gundam marker too that you can use too.
Cool.
So it's kind of a cost-effective way if you want to get into airbrushing your kits or
So do you airbrush?
Do I? No, I don't personally airbrush.
Well, I guess if you need a guy for that too, start charging out by the hour.
Someone's going to come in and be like, I need to talk about these airbrushes. And he's going to be like, wait, I know a guy.
You know what you should sell? And this is totally a serious suggestion. Two things. Ellie's totally awesome. It's a fantastic. You can get at the dollar store, like for a gallon for like $1.
Oh,
and that is my favorite airbrush cleaner. It overnight it just disintegrates paints. And also for stripping miniatures, if you make a mistake, you dunk them in there overnight. I actually have next to my sink a little container full of it that I dunk my airbrush in whenever I'm done with it. And then also get some generic jewelry cleaners, the ultrasonic ones, because when paint gets stuck in your airbrush, you can take it apart, put it in there overnight. LA's totally awesome. Run it when you put it in there, and then run it in the morning, and it cleans out like all the little dried up. Yeah,
this is
and those two things. They're the paint, the cleaner is inexpensive. The jewelry things are a little bit more expensive, but just to be able for your customers to buy it all at once for the maintenance,
One-stop
the
shop.
cleaning, and then if they screw up in painting.
That's awesome.
Because pretty much any paint, even like the Krylon Fusion that bonds to plastic, that'll take it off. It might leave the plastic slightly hazed, but it'll strip it completely. It's
Oh,
That is
wow.
awesome. I'm gonna have to use that.
Yeah.
yeah. So let's see. Dylan says he's going to hit you up for some Mezcos potentially, or for Monster Arts rather.
Right on,
And
dude.
then Damien says he needs to get going. But Damien, it was good to have you
Thank you,
in
Damien.
the show.
Damien.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Now,
Wait, Dylan also said you need to tell them about Super Black.
Super Black, is that what he said?
Yep.
What's that? So Super Black, it's actually called, first off, it's called Black 2.0.
We don't need the whole spiel again.
Okay, how much time do you have? It's essentially Stuart Simple, this artist, made the blackest, mattest paint that you could buy, and it's insane. I'll show you before you guys leave. I have a monolith
down,
there.
dude.
One half is coated
Super
in
Black.
Oh, it's called Black 2.0.
Where's that Black at?
Oh, that's funny, dude.
So this side here is the Rust-Oleum Black, which is like super matte. This side here is a Black 2.0, which is like
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
stupid black. They're both, you're getting into like very fine differences in black, but
Yeah.
for the monolith, we needed it to be as black
As it can
as
be.
humanly possible.
Yeah.
And the only black that we chose was.
Thank you, Dylan, because we definitely needed this again.
Yes, this has been your weekly.
Do not forget.
Super Black.
This has been your weekly super black segment, the segment where we talk about black and black accessories.
Stay black.
Yeah, right. Stay black, my friends. So we also made a purchase with you while we were there. My wife has been saying for a while she wanted to get me a gift for our anniversary. It was 7 years of dating anniversary. And I was tempted to pick up this figure from a guy on one of the groups. He never wrote back to my message.
It was lost.
Well,
Yeah.
he was going through a lot. But well, I don't say it's just lost, but you had ordered the advanced suit. That was the first figure you got in
That
from
was
your
correct.
sideshow distribution.
That was.
And the day you got it, like the day you sold it, like it was.
Yeah,
It was-
basically, yeah.
I literally didn't
Zach.
put it on the shelf at all.
Well, you did, and then the guy knocked it over.
Yeah.
The worst guy ever.
I brought it out and
Ban
boom!
him from the store. That's the
Oh,
second
boom.
person I demanded.
Sorry,
And-
sir, you gotta
Yeah,
go.
right. Great. Added onto the camera if we were. So really good figure. This is the advanced suit Spider-Man figure,
It is
and
phenomenal.
Super nice.
I love it. I don't even know if we talked about this in new this week. Did I even do a new this week? I think
No,
I got
you
so
skipped it.
distracted.
You skipped it.
Oh no! I got
New
so,
this week.
Yeah. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. New this week.
Okay.
My beautiful wife, mother of my child, wonderful human being,
Aw.
bought me this advanced suit Spider-Man, and I love it. It's really nice. It's pretty much everything that I wanted to figure. I talked to Seth about this figure. I talked to Chris from Six Scale Scavengers. Talked to a few other people that own it, and it's pretty dope.
It's amazing.
I like the
Looks
accessories. I like the. It's just so good. Like you
Yeah.
can do so much with this. The only thing that I don't like about this figure, it's so subtle, but the wrist pegs are off white, and I feel like they should be white because they don't match the white on the suit.
Yeah.
So on Toy Anxiety, I bought for 50 cents. I'm about to give you all a pro tip here in a second. I bought a bunch of the white pegs, the off-white pegs, and I'm gonna paint them white with paint they use to paint fridges,
Mhm.
and then it'll match, and I'll be
Of course
happy.
you are.
Boom.
Now here's what I recommend for you guys. This is we're getting
this is like
this isn't 101
awesome.
anymore. We're in 404 right now. Go to Toy Anxiety
Uh-huh.
and search wrist pegs and just buy they're $1 a piece.
really
Buy as many as you can,
Yeah.
black, flesh, whatever,
Clear about
and just
Clear
have
about
them for your customers. Like if they break their wrist pegs, or even if you guys break them in the shop,
oh dang.
and only buy the Hot Toys ones. Don't
Yeah.
buy the third-party ones.
Mhm.
But just have them for your customers, because there's nothing worse than when you break a wrist peg. You got to buy it online. You got to wait 6 days for it to come in. I'm telling y'all, carry wrist pegs from Hot Toys, and y'all will be
What
killing.
did you say? Go to
Toy Anxiety.
Toy-
Toy Anxiety is a company that they'll buy this advanced suit Spider-Man
Uh-huh.
and they'll sell you the hand for $5. They'll send you the wrist shooter for $20.
Oh, so they break it
They break
apart.
they break down every part of the figure, and You know,
That's so smart though,
That's
dude.
what I
Like,
do with a
just-
lot of stuff.
because every Hot Toys comes with 2 spares, so that means for each Hot Toys they have 4 wrist pegs they can sell,
oh, dang.
and they break down like 6-7 Hot Toys a week, so they
Yeah.
have a ton of wrist pegs. I would even just call them up and say, hey, I'm a store, I want to buy some wrist pegs for my customers. That way you don't have to go through the
Cheaper.
website and
Yeah.
add
Oh,
it.
you don't
you
have
know.
to. Maybe they can.
Yeah, maybe they can
make
just do it
some
in
type-
bulk,
Yeah, do like a bulk shipment.
because that is invaluable.
I need 1,000.
I've been
wrist
trying to
pegs.
yeah, right.
Now.
I've been wanting to do that for us, like just to have them for you guys come here every Tuesday.
Mhm.
I haven't gotten to that point yet, but definitely consider it because there's
Dude, that's
nothing
a great
worse.
idea.
Yeah.
Mm.
Especially now getting more into it, you know, if we're moving more and more of these Hot Toys, I think it's going to be essential because believe you, I mean, we get it all the time, you know, they'll come back or, you know, Storm Collectibles, they'll come back, hey, this head popped out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you got to have something to remedy it. You know what I
Damien
mean?
says that he just broke a wrist peg last night.
It's really something
It's a
that
common
happens
thing.
all the
It
time.
is a common
Yeah,
thing.
and you guys would be the only store in town selling them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think any of the shops do.
Let's
This
make it
is
happen.
this is secret, top secret.
Yeah.
To make your
Figure
shop
it out.
that much better.
Yeah.
Maybe even carry some of the ankle pegs
Yeah.
or even the ankle extenders. People want to do the Batman mods.
Mm.
You can get real deep into it, but I think even just carrying a bunch of genuine Hot Toys pegs,
Mhm.
they're
Even like
Cool.
the neck pegs, and because I swear I just ordered some the other day. 'cause I
yeah,
broke
neck
one.
pegs. I would just kind of go on their site and look at a bunch of different things. Maybe even also stocking the third-party bodies, which
Yeah.
are like just generic True Type slim bodies. You can get them for like 10,
Wow.
$13 a pop. But people do customs, and they need to order these, and it's like you
Yeah.
wait 3 or 4 or 5
Yeah.
days, or you order them from
Mm.
China. Maybe carry some generic stands as well, because the ones I told you to
Oh,
order
yeah,
for the
yeah,
shop, maybe just carry some to sell, because I do a lot of customs, and most of my figures that are customs are on just those plain stands, and they're a pain in the
Those
ass to
little
order.
Black
Yep.
ones.
Yeah, those little black stands.
Yeah.
I would order those, wrist pegs, and also for your shop, I would keep a blow dryer at the shop,
Okay.
because if you're changing out hands often on your
Mhm.
figures, like if you're posing them on the shelf,
need
if you
it
heat them
to-
up for a second, just like 2 seconds with the blow dryer, it just
It
makes
pops
it
off pretty
yeah,
easy.
it makes it a lot easier to do
Okay.
it. Or if your customers say, "Hey, I got this figure, I can't move the arm," heat it up real quick, and then bada bing,
Good to
bada
And
boom.
then after that, do my.
Yeah, right. Do your,
Yeah, whatever.
We got Mervin in the chat. He says, "What's up,
What
fellas?"
happened to all my moose? What's up, Mervin?
Now, I'm achieving a life goal. Thursday, I'm going to your shop,
I want to pick.
and I'm gonna pimp your case.
Case.
So,
You have to record an episode.
yeah, right. What up, guys?
Yeah.
Pin my case.
So I don't know that we'll have 6 scale stuff to put in the case on Thursday,
Mhm.
but we're gonna take everything out of your case. We're gonna clean it. We're gonna put some LEDs. We're gonna put some weather stripping. I made you guys some display signs to put around your store. Don't remind me, they're in my car. I gotta give them to you right now.
Nice.
And I think we're gonna pimp out this store, because
Dude.
I think you guys have a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But when I saw, no offense, but when I saw your case and you had that Comic Sans curled up 90-day layaway sign, I was like,
Oh,
Steven,
yeah.
this hurts my soul. Now, I was really excited because I've always wanted to do this, like redo like a case
Yeah.
in a store. It's been like a bucket list thing for me for a long time. I don't know why. I got
That's
weird
why we
goals.
He's
have
got
that paper
weird
on there.
goals.
I
I'm
have
so
weird-
I'm
glad.
so glad we never took
Weird
that paper
goals.
out.
Mervin says he needs that Dragonite. Mervin, this Dragonite, I guess we'll talk about it next week. Without Dean, I'm all in a tizzle. We'll talk about this Dragonite next week. It's fantastic. It's by Wicked
Look at him
Toys.
messing up the show.
It's by
Come on.
Wicked
Yeah.
Toys. I got distracted because you freaked out when I said the intro, and you looked at me like this, like, what the hell are you doing? And it totally threw me off.
We can't take Dean's spot. We got in trouble for that last
It
week.
totally threw me off. And so, anyway, so we're gonna pimp out the case, and it's gonna look really good. I think that case has a lot of potential. It's about an 8-foot case. It's
Yeah.
2 4-foot
Two
by
4
like
foots.
6-foot cases. I think we're gonna be able to put a lot of figures in there, and once you add the LED lighting, it's to make everything pop.
It's
It
It's
looks
gonna look so
fantastic.
crispy.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
gonna be like the highlight. People are gonna walk in and see that case
Yeah.
and just be directly
Mm.
magnetized to
Yeah,
it.
I think
You already
so.
have a fantastic store, so it's just
Oh,
that
thanks.
much better.
Yeah.
If I can get off on a side tangent for just 1 second, like one thing that I noticed about your store, and it bugs me because I've been in lots of stores. I've been in stores all over town, and anytime I'm like, I'm going to go spend $200, $300, $400 on a figure, I don't want to walk in and see a store that's dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
I don't want to
yes.
see trash on the floor.
We have air fresheners going and everything.
But anytime I walk in, it's like your stores always look super clean, and that really like rubs off on me. I'm like, oh, like I want to spend some money in here because like obviously they respect the merchandise and they respect their space that much.
And that's one thing that we like are so keen on. Like every week, like we're
cleaning.
like that's a big thing for us, you know. And we've been, man. People have been like, man, I can't believe they're like, a family walked in the other day and they're like, it smells good in here. I was like, yes.
We got air fresheners.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, they're dusted.
I'm like, quick, they're not looking.
I know, right?
We do. That's like the first thing I do every day, man.
It really shows.
Dude,
I really respect it.
I will say, yes. Because that store that I went to, I was like, yo, when you picked up the stack of boxes, it was like a thick ass layer of dust. And I was like, yeah, your store's super clean.
Like if you pick up a box of road trucks out, like I'm gonna be like, oh. I'm not buying it here.
Yeah, you're like, what's
you
in
got
there?
some friends back here.
Yeah. Now it's funny because when I was doing this little show presentation, I was super stoked. I like food. I like to go somewhere and then have to leave. Like especially when you because you guys are pretty far from here, about 25 miles.
I know.
I don't want to go all the way out there and then have to leave. And then since where y'all are at, it's like if I have to leave, I have to go on the turnaround and come back.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. And I was really excited because when I zoomed in, I was like, yo, I see the word pizza rolls. I love pizza. I love rolls.
Yeah.
And I was like, when you got here, I was like, Steven, bro, like we're gonna have a great day. We got The Office going because you have a TV with The Office. Which is dope. I was like, we're gonna be watching The Office. We're gonna be shooting some content. We're gonna be getting some pizza rolls. And you're like, oh, they closed down.
About them pizza rolls.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened with this.
Oh
store.
man, dude, Papa George, dude, or
Yeah.
Papa
Okay, so
Ray's.
funny story.
Okay, time out. So
Okay,
I don't know the
so-
name, so I just saw pizza. What's it
Okay.
called? Papa George?
No, it's not. Okay, so the place is called Ray's Pizza.
Ray's
So it's
Pizza.
a franchise.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so let me tell you the story.
I
'Cause It's
legit almost
hilarious.
Uh,
Okay, so it's called Ray's Pizzeria. So it's a franchise. Anybody can buy it. Steven thought, I guess, that it was just.
I thought it was his name.
Yeah. So he kept the owner kept coming by.
I was
He's
like,
all
hey, Papa Ray.
Papa Ray. The whole time, finally the manager comes out. He's like, dude, his name's not Ray. His name's George. Like, he just bought the place. Like, it's not like it.
Every morning,
That's
dude.
awesome.
Hey, Papa Ray.
It's like, oh.
He never said anything.
Like that's
Man. So man, he just like I don't know what happened, man. He just like got mad and he was like, you know what? I'm overrunning a
So
restaurant.
it was
2 weeks later, there's a vape store moving.
He's like, my neighbor is this complete tool. It calls me Papa Ray.
Yeah, I know.
We've been neighbors for like a year already.
He's like, I
Forget
can't take
this
it
guy.
anymore.
Oh man, what's wrong with this idiot? Hey, I'm Papa Ray.
You called him Ray, and he was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I'm done. That was it.
He
That-
won't
that
stop
was
calling
it.
me Papa Ray.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I felt like such a douche, man. It's like, dude, his name's George.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
Oh man,
I
so
totally forgot
awkward.
about the banners.
After
but-
that, every morning, hi George.
So okay, so that is now a vape store.
So it's it's
Which I mean, I guess it might
not
not be a vape store for that long, the way things are going with
That's
the government. But,
Yeah,
but
that's what I was
so,
saying.
Yeah.
so is there food in the vicinity though? Or do
There
you have to
is.
travel?
Like, if
Right,
you
so-
go-
so talk
there's-
to me.
It's a whole strip. I think there's a total of like 11 shops, including ours.
Uh-huh.
Like 11 physical locations that can be purchased or rented out in that space. There's a Chinese restaurant. It's called Lee's Kitchen,
All
and
right, I
we've
can get
eaten
down
there
with some
before.
Lee's Kitchen.
I mean,
Yeah. They're pretty
sweet
good.
and sour chicken's pretty good. I had the kung pao chicken. I
Yeah.
think at one time it was pretty solid too. So
This week on Food Weekly.
Yeah, right.
I know, right?
that's my other passion in collecting.
We
I
are
collect
working
nuggets.
on a new project. Now, the Chrysler Building in New York, iconic for its eagle statues.
Yep.
The old Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, on the left figure had a loosely based replica of that, and that was pretty cool. You can see here on the right, this is roughly how big this thing is. It's not like super massive by any means,
Yeah.
but we are in talks with Watto's Scrapyard to do, you can see here Predator 2. The movie also used the loosely based on the Chrysler Eagles. but we're talking with Auto Scrapyard to 3D print this guy here. Now this is going to be a little bit more expensive than our normal projects because this is even at the size that we're thinking to order, it's a pretty expensive print. It's like, pretty solid print.
Pretty awesome.
Takes about a day and a half to print this. And I'm ordering one to try it out. And if it works well, I think we'll look into either reprinting more or molding it. Kind of scared to mold it. I've never done that, but potentially that could be a thing. So stay tuned. We're going to use this as a display for like Batman figures, Spider-Man figures, potentially Predator figures if they can fit on there. But I think this is going to be something pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're not really announcing any pre-orders on this just yet, but stay tuned because definitely something could be in the near future. I know we had asked some Ox members for some measurements because we wanted to try to make this accommodate as many licenses and characters as possible. And I know with some of the Predator figures, their stance is quite wide. And I don't know that we can fully accommodate those because when we did the measurements, one, it was way out of scale with the actual Chrysler Eagles. And then two, so it's too big, one, and then two, the print was like 7 pounds of plastic, or I don't know exactly what they're printing it in. And to print that and to ship it, it was like, at that point, it's like almost a figure. Yeah. So we had to scale it down quite dramatically. So this isn't the final shape. I think we're going to cut off this bottom part here and then shorten this just a hair. But I did print out like this here, this top portion here, on a sheet of paper, and I put Spider-Man on it in a few different poses, and he fit pretty well on it. So
I think you may be able to still fit like a NECA Predator on there, like a.
Well, yeah, or we're thinking more 6 scale, but yeah, NECA for sure. Yeah, that's definitely not going to be a problem. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, I don't know how many we're going to make. I don't know if we're going to fully go into a run, but we're at least going to make one and see,
that would be really
how it goes. Now, Only Fools and Collectors, they're hosting their second show, Mauling the Pose. That is Thursday. So I got a busy day on Thursday. It's going to be fun. Ian, Dean, and myself are going to join. And then I think after this, I'm going to let them do their thing. And if they screw up, I'll fire them. But, it's going to be a sink or swim kind of thing. So that's that. I wanted to give a shout out to my buddy, Jamie. He owns a company called Lensberg Media. Lensberg Media is like a marketing team where they shoot like really high quality video for businesses. And essentially he told me like his thing is to like help businesses make more money. And so this is his company here. He's also a toy collector. He does toy photography in 4K. And he sold me a black suit Spider-Man for like $10, which is like, it's part of the $40 2-pack. I was thinking to pay at least $20. So really cool guy. And awesome. He didn't know that I had a show, but once I told him, he was like, dude, that's dope. And I wanted to give him a shout out because he was really cool. Wanted to give a shout out to our friends over at Mint and Sealed Box Podcast. I was featured on an episode of Project Sean, Collector Showcase. So it was pretty cool what they did. They gave me a list of questions, and like they're like, just record yourself answering these questions. And I feel like I talk way too much. This would be like a 2-3 minute video. Mine was like 7 minutes. I talk. When you're on this show, like when you do a weekly show, you have to like talk longer than you need to, because like if I just said what was on the show sheet, we'd be down like 15 minutes. So I naturally now speak quite long. So
you gotta just.
But essentially, every question was cut. So like, like how'd you get into collecting? And like every person answered the question, and the video. Would, and it was so cool. Susan was in it. Sean was in it. A few other collectors were in it. It was just like a really neat thing. So check that out on their channel. It's Mint and Sealed Box Media. And this is by Justin and Zachary. And Zachary is the guy that was interested in that Thanos. So definitely hit him up if you're interested. We have a Facebook group called Collecting Weekly Auxiliary. It is a fun group.
Super fun.
Steven, you gotta be more active, Steven. People ask you questions, and they're like 4 days later, and I was like, Steven, how many times am I tag you? Do you use Facebook? Or
no, I don't use Facebook.
Okay, maybe we gotta get you on make a fake account.
We just had our daughter too, so she's been taking care of
Emma.
I've been
at home.
It could be like Dozen or whatever we call the other show.
Man, sometimes I'm just like
No, I'm just kidding.
Stevens,
But-
I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
just-
I just there's people that are interested, so whenever they're interested, I'll tag you because
Okay.
I really want you guys to be able to
Yeah,
make those
thank you,
sales and take advantage of that
And
community we have.
now that we're doing like the sideshow and hot toys and everything, you're gonna be seeing a lot more activity from us on.
Yeah, and with those, I know, Diz, you had calculated. I guess there's a reward system in place
Yeah, we
also,
do definitely have a reward
and
system.
it's $100 that you spend and you get.
So it's
five?
$205 back.
Okay,
So
Yes.
literally every
basically any hot toys. You buy is
basically
like
any
20
6
bucks.
scale
you
hot
base-
toys
yeah,
figure,
exactly.
you're automatically. And the cool thing about it is you can use it how you want to use it. You can use it as you get it. You can stack it up, and then you can use it all. Use it however you please. You can use it on layaways. You can use it on pre-orders.
That's awesome.
We let you use it freely how you will to use it.
So
Yeah.
let's
Because it's your
say
couch.
like if you hit like $200, you could just be like, I'm getting a hot toy for like $50.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Fernando's in the chat. He says, "Yo, Jason says, is it going to be a wall hanging display or is there going to be a base that will sit on?" Jason, I'm not sure. I'm talking with Sean on how to integrate something to hang it on cleanly. But I know when Asmus released their Gandalf the Grey, he had like a pedestal where it was flat on the back and there was a pole going through it, and it was like roughly in the same shape as the eagle, and like that sat on a base. I'm not really sure yet. Like I said, we're very early in the thought process, but I thought we had enough that I wanted to share it.
Mhm.
So, that is something that we will be
Yeah.
announcing soon. Now, Seth, I wanted you to preface this before I pull it up on the big screen. So tell me what we have going on.
So my sister-in-law has moved in with us and is looking for, a place to live in San Antonio and looking for a job and stuff like that. And one of the things she does, she's been working on art for years. And one of the things she does is she does commissioned art. And so she was talking to me and was like, hey, what if I sponsored some of the episodes of your podcast so I can get my commissioned art name out there so that, maybe I can make some money. And I was like, that's a great idea. What if you drew something for the podcast?
Yes.
And she immediately took it and just ran with it.
So before I show what we have here, because this is fantastic. I'm gonna eke this out for a few more minutes. Did she? There's a lot of inside jokes here. So does she
Yeah.
listen to the show?
So she does listen to the show
Okay, so
occasionally.
she was able to
and
pick and choose.
And she pulled a lot of this content from Facebook.
Yeah.
She's been scrolling through Instagram. She's been on the Facebook page. She's been all over just pulling little bits and pieces about what
Yeah.
she could put into this.
And this
And it
is
was
so good.
Totally, mostly a surprise. She gave me like kind of the rough draft and then was like later showing me everything. And I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic.
Okay, so I guess drum roll, or are we just gonna do it? What do you want to do?
Go for
it.
All right. So what is her Instagram, real quick?
So it's at Morgan. I think it's Morgan's _drafts.
Drafts.
Yeah. Or Morgan
Let's
_
see.
drafts.
Killing already off to a bad start with the sponsor. So she's on Morgan's _drafts on
Yeah.
Instagram. So let me break this down here because this is crispy as hell. So first off, in the back we have the Popeyes chicken sandwich that
Yep.
to this day we have not gotten.
That doesn't ask.
We have the Stanley with the seam in the
With
dome.
the seam in the dome.
We have the broken wrist from Manny's barbershop story, which is freaking hilarious. We have Dean on the left. We have Seth on the right. And then we have tiny little me here, which I don't know what they're trying to say about that. We have a lead roller on the table with the Collecting Weekly logo. This is fantastic. I
It's
love
great.
this.
That
It's
was
it's
awesome.
wonderful.
I
art.
Yeah.
So,
She did just such a fantastic job.
Yeah.
She did a great job.
Awesome.
so that is
It's like
that's
it's
fantastic.
like your twin, Zach.
So I love that. That is I'd like to use this as the episode art. I think it's just so well done.
It's really good.
Maybe she can make one where I'm a big person.
that
would be cool.
normal size.
But yeah, this is Fernando says that X-ray though. This is so badass. I just gotta say this is
Yeah,
really cool.
it's really good.
Yeah.
we have
Super impressed.
let's see. So we have Small Talk, which is killing it. They put up an episode on Sunday. Only Fools and Collectors, like I mentioned, they're recording Thursday at 3:30 Central Standard Time. Dark Side Customs in the United Kingdom, they do figure repainting and the like. Jason says you are action figure size. Yo, I'm an acceptable height, okay? Not a giant or anything. Six Scale Scavengers, Brian and Chris, they run a really, really good podcast. They're really, really cool guys. And Ryan Kirkwood, he did a short interview with us, which is going to back end this episode. So, tune in a few more minutes. That interview will start in the audio feed. If you're watching YouTube, just scroll one video down. It's the next video on the channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the shout outs. And I should say last episode, Seth teased that this was a work in progress. I thought it was going to be a quilt. So way better than a quilt.
Definitely way better than a quilt.
So please
cool
tell
if
your
it was a
sister-in-law
quilt.
thank you. And if she wants to sponsor, we can definitely get that arranged.
Yeah, and definitely check out @Morgans_drafts on Instagram.
Yeah.
Definitely.
She is all into art. We'll do commissioned art if you want to check her out. She's got some great prices on art. So, and obviously, look at that. She does fantastic work.
Super good.
We also got a ton of hats
Yes.
here.
Awesome.
Seth, we placed an investment in these.
Chris,
So we got some of the old dad hats for me. We got
oh, dead heads.
collecting. Oh my gosh,
Ooh.
here, I'm gonna put these over here. We got the
I like
full
that.
logo.
I like that one.
We got some for
That's
the
nice.
kids these days, for the modern kids.
For the hit.
And
yeah.
let me.
Flat
Oh,
brand.
that's too far. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff, and
We got all kinds of hats. We
Yeah.
will we might give maybe a couple away.
Potentially.
Probably be selling
Potentially.
some.
Yeah, we're probably gonna sell some of these to fund our upgrade to XLR. But some of these we'll give away. Figure out how to do that. But these are. Thank you for this, and please. Mervin says he loves his snapback. And then please tell it's your sister-in-law, right?
Yeah.
I've met her a few times. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was an artist. That's really
Yeah.
cool. I love it. Ask her if I can use it as the artwork.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so beautiful. But do you guys have any shout-outs you wanted to give before we cut it off?
Shout outs.
Shout out to the guy that dropped my damn figure.
Shout out to Zach for buying our first hot toy.
Shout out, Zach. Collecting weekly for
Yeah.
always, man. Showing us tons of love. and
Yes.
Just
Thank you,
giving us
guys.
really awesome support. I mean,
Mhm.
as a shop and as an individual, man, I couldn't
Yeah.
ask for any better support,
Definitely.
man. You guys have been like top notch since the moment we met you, and
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys are awesome.
Brings
Start
tears.
crying.
It's emotional.
Yeah, he gets emotional.
It's getting deep in here.
Turn the fan
man,
on.
but seriously, man, you guys are awesome. We I really
Let us
appreciate
know if you ever want to re-sponsor the show. We'd appreciate
all
Definitely.
the time.
Support.
Just-
Yes.
you can plan
Send
on
that
us.
contract over your way.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely do it.
Well, I'm Zach.
I'm Seth.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Daisy.
Catch you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Whoa, he did it. Oh my gosh. All right, good
Yeah.
show, guys. We'll
Dude.
keep the
All right.
we'll keep the mic hot for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Woo.
Dude.
But,
Dang,
It was a
dude.
good episode.
You guys, okay, good. Dude, literally, when we first started, I don't know if I hit like some brain fart or something, but I was like, I was like, somebody slapped me.
Daisy, do you want a hat? You can look at the assortment that you guys
Nice.
can match.
You know, we can also put these in our store and sell it for you guys, right?
Ooh, that'd be dope.
Awesome.
You guys want us
Definitely.
to do that?
Hey,
We
as long
can
as we
definitely
keep selling them, I'll keep ordering them. So,
We can definitely help you guys.
These are
you
sick.
know?
I like these
You
ones
guys are
too.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
so next up, actually,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the
dude,
certified crispy on the side. So we'll have certified crispy hats with the collecting weekly logo.
that
It would be cool one
so
day if we had
cool,
like
dude.
the collecting weekly with small
Yeah,
talk
right,
come to
right.
If I
OFAC.
wasn't if I didn't get things so dirty all the time, man, I'd be on this.
Dude, I love a white hat. I can never wear a white
Me
hat.
too, dude.
I can.
See, like this one right here, dude. I'd sport this too, right here, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, me and White just.
You and everything.
Bless your heart.
Everything.
I can't even wear
Exactly.
a white shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
I'm getting stuff all over it. By
Dude,
the
I
end of
haven't
the
bought a
day.
white shirt in forever.
Here, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see. Let's drop this link into here. See if anyone wants to join us real quick.
Drop the link below. Say hello.
Cheery.
All right, let's see if anyone pops in on the chat. That was a good show. I totally was like freaking out when I don't know, what did I say? Stinson? I don't even know what Stinson
Threw me off.
Oh, man, that totally threw me off.
That was me.
Yeah.
I was trying to focus on this. Yeah, Stinson. I was trying to focus on that.
Dude,
This. The mouse was all glitchy. I was like,
At the end, I should have been like, and this is Stinson.
I
I'm
know.
just kidding, Steven.
yeah, Jason says to link Seth's sister-in-law's info when you post the show on the
Yeah.
Facebook site. Yeah.
Jason, we will.
Does she have an email? I guess like people can contact her.
Yeah,
On
probably
Instagram?
contact her through Instagram. I'll talk to her and see how she wants to get contacted most of the time. I'm hoping this kind of props up her business a little bit. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super cool, man.
That's good.
I love it. I've never been drawn like this. I've been drawn. My wife draws me, but it's more
Oh,
like
are you serious?
sketching.
Nice.
I've never been like cartoonized. I like it. Let me just make this big real quick. It's so beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. This is me if I hit the gym.
Ripped. Dude,
You did an awesome job.
if
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Our work does pretty good in our store too.
Yeah.
Like some of the
Maybe she
customer.
could.
Yeah, if you ever want her to bring her by, and we can set her up on a consignment too, and
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, she can put her stuff on. And...
she can consign her artwork at her store too.
Damien says he wants some small talk art.
See,
Don't give it to
Oh.
Damien. You get big headed. Damien.
I'll tell Damon. I'll tell her to draw you purposely big-headed.
The
Gigantic.
Like in your
Lord
head.
Damien.
The Lord Damien.
That's funny.
All right, Mervin. We'll catch you later, brother.
Bye,
All right.
Mervin.
I don't think anyone wants to talk to
Adios.
us right now.
Yeah.
Oh well.
You're not cool.
Damon says one of his girls calls him the Lord. I'm like, oh. I don't know what y'all
Whatever.
Whatever.
All right. That's too much.
And signing out.
All right, guys. We'll catch you guys later. I don't think anyone's going to join us. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Land.
Have a good night.
Right.
We
Cut that off.